It is 1948, almost 20 years after the Great Depression and the dissolution of the German Empire, and World War II never happened. It is 1930, and after the Great Unrest, Bavaria left the Weimar Republic and became an independent state. Soon other states followed. Things boiled up when the Hof air militia bombed the brewery in Plauen. The Saxons retaliated. Almost 20 years of peace were shattered when though economic interest clashed in northern Bavaria with Free States of Saxony. It was regarding the ale supply in the region, and the Saxons flooded the Bavarian market. These events happening between 8th and 10th August of 1948 were the opening shots for the unfolding Ale Wars. Welcome to the Dockfighters, the Ale Wars preview.
Hello and welcome, this is Adam at Weekly Game Night, and today I have something very special to show you, a game called Dockfighters, the Ale Wars by 3D Art Lab Studio. And why it's so special? Because this game is about aerial combat, there is strategic depth to it, but that's not all. We have campaign, we have RPG elements, we have dope minis, which I will show you later, but let me start with the mini of the airship, because this is something special. You have magnetic altitude standees, you have experience circles around the standees, you have weapons that you can assemble, and they are also magnetic. So this game sparks the inner child inside me, and this is something that I probably never seen that before in the games I've played. This is definitely different, and I'm really excited to show it all to you guys. So Dockfighters is currently on Kickstarter, and you can find the link to this game in the description of this video below. On the Kickstarter you will find the core version of the game, which you can see over here, but there are plenty of add-ons or expansions that you can find, including new factions, new buildings, new aircraft, and you can see all of that on Kickstarter. And well, this game is for 1 to 4 players, so you can play it solo, you can play it as a co-op, you can play it versus, there is a campaign, you have 3 battles. So basically one of the very best features of this game is that you can play it actually any way you want it, and this was something that really impressed me. And the most interesting mode of this game is definitely campaign, because you will have buying aircraft, repairing aircrafts, enhancement to the planes, enhancement to the airships. You will have pilots that can die, or they can gain more experience and be more effective in the combat. You will have different missions, not necessarily is all about flying and shooting to each other. It can be more about, for example, surveillance, or for example, for escorting the airship or other cargo. So there is plenty of things going on in the campaign, and I really like that. Well, if you like what you see, why not subscribing to Weekly Game Night, so I can bring you more of these goodies and special games like Dockfighters, the Ale Wars. Oh gosh, I want to tell you so much about this title at a time that probably it's too much, but believe me, there is so much content, not in terms of plastic or maps, paper or that in this box, but rather I'm talking about gameplay and how many hours you can spend playing this game with the content that you already have in this core box of the game. So without further ado, let me do some game presentation so you can see what it's all about, and later on I will tell you what they like about this game and what are the features of this game that you should know. So let's start the engines and take off. Welcome to Dockfighters, the Ale Wars game presentation and gameplay basic. In this game, players are squadron leaders and they command their crews, pilots and aircraft and send them on a mission. So take good care of your man, leader. But I know you're all about bells and whistles, so let's start with the miniatures. In the game box you will find two badass magnetic diesel punk airships minis. And the game comes with 14 aircraft minis as well, including fighters, fighter bombers, dogfighters, and bombers. And each miniature model is different. As the game goes, you will be able to upgrade airships by adding new equipment and add new weapons to your aircrafts. And if that is not enough, you can check Kickstarter for more miniatures, more content, expansions, new factions, and super cool fortress mini. You will attach each miniature to the magnetized bases. Use speed ring to adjust the speed of your plane. And now it's getting super cool, cause to show the aircraft altitude, you will be using these magnetic height spacers. For when you change altitude, simply deattach the plane, add another spacer, and assemble the plane once again. Cool, huh? Each pilot might have different combat experience: green, experienced, veteran, and ace. To mark that, you will be using these experience rings. They come with green, blue, yellow, or red color. But that's not all. You can adjust your airship weapons by adding these super cool external airship systems. And these are also magnetic, so it's a kind of magic. Just watch me adding Nebelwerfers and turrets here. If you don't love it, you should probably search for your heart. And if your mini falls down accidentally, you will be able to reassemble it in no time due to the magnetic nature of the miniatures. Dockfighters comes with several game modes, but my favorite is free campaign, so I will focus on that. As a squadron leader, you will keep track of your squadron stats. You will choose your aircraft and pilots for your next mission. And something that I really enjoyed is that both players will choose different missions and play them at the same time, so they might not necessarily interfere with each other. Each mission is played in 12 turns, starting with the ground unit's movement. Next, each player will adjust the aircraft speed based on the engine power of the aircraft. The speed will show you how far can you go on the map, but choose wisely because you cannot stop in the middle. If all players are ready, then we will start moving the aircrafts one by one based on the initiative. And as you move on the map, you will be able to make number of turns based on your aircraft agility. And of course that's not all, as you will be able to change your altitude and adjust your speed as well. If that wasn't enough, you will also be able to perform barrels and immelmans as you fly. And as this is the aerial game, you will be able to fly underneath the clouds or above the clouds. When all players are done, next it's time for the combat phase of the game. This is where heroes are born and fame points are gained. To attack the enemy unit, you will roll dice, and dice number is based on aircraft weapons, distance, and weather. There are many roll modifiers, but you really want those sixes. If you are lucky enough to hit the enemy plane, you will roll the dice once again to check the damage. If you manage to shoot down the enemy aircraft, the fame is yours. You will keep track of your pilot's successes each time they shoot down the enemy aircraft. As pilots gain experience, they will also gain new skills. When you are done with the combat, next is time for the weather phase, and so the game goes turn by turn until the finish. After the game is finished, you will be able to readjust your squadron, sending your crew members to the hospitals and buying new pilots and completely new aircrafts. You will also get a chance to add new weapons to your aircraft for more damage in the upcoming missions. It's it's worth mentioning that there are different campaign modes in the game included. I've shown you the free campaign, but there are also more scripted campaigns included, versus campaign and co-op campaign in which you play against the bot. Okay, this is it. Now you know how to play Dockfighters, the Ale Wars, and now it's time to go on a mission. Yo, welcome back. I hope you like the presentation, and now let me tell you what's so special about Dockfighters. So first of all, the battle system it runs on. So I can't believe it was made by one guy because it works so well. All in this system just clicks. So you will have altitude, you will have pilot experience, speed, ground units, of course aircrafts, different kinds of aircrafts that can do different type of damage. You will have clouds moving through the map and the wind direction and wind strength. Also you will have weather conditions, and there is so much things included in this system, and it's so well thought. So for example, you can maneuver with your plane doing barrels or immelmans. If you are, for example, gaining altitude, then you are losing speed. But if you are going down, then you are gaining speed, and you have combat advantages, so many things in it. And you have plenty of tables that might seem a little bit intimidating in the beginning, but once you get to play it a little bit, like one or two scenarios, you will probably remember them, or you can always look it up. But really, believe me, the game system, wow, I'm really impressed by that. And to me, I didn't expect that, but I got more than I would ever expect from a prototype of a game that I previously had no idea it even existed. So battle system in Dockfighters is, wow, it's amazing. What's next? Let me tell you a little bit about the campaign and why did I like it so much. So campaign is my favorite mode of this game because I think this game was created for the campaign mode. So in the campaign, you will have your pilots, you will name them. Also, you will have your aircraft that you can buy more of them, buy better aircraft. You can equip your aircraft with new weapons like Panzerschrecks, Nebelwerfers, cruise missiles, jammers, radars. There's plenty of equipment in this game. Your pilots will gain experience, and believe me, losing an experienced pilot is so painful. And you will play it 1 versus 1, or you can play co-op campaign versus bot. So you have two modes in the campaign, and both of them are interesting, but I would rather play versus. And when you play versus a player, there is this little catch-up mechanism, so the guy who is losing and staying behind will get some extra fame points, and with the fame points you can buy equipment or airplanes. And you know, it's not only campaign, there is this RPG vibe to it, because naming pilots and, you know, expanding, enhancing your aircrafts and then losing them is something you might experience, and it's the feeling that you might experience in the RPG campaign. But this is aircraft battle game, and it's included, and believe me, it's done neatly and it works. Next thing is the theme, because the theme, sometimes you have theme in the games, you know, you need to have some backstory to it to justify the game, but this game is also all about the team. So Second World War never happened. There are plenty of provinces that separated from the countries like Bavaria or Saxony and other provinces of the European countries as well. You have well-developed aircrafts and airships, and there is this diesel punk or steampunk vibe to all these miniatures in the game and the game elements as well. And if you would paint these elements, and you can see the painted miniatures on the publisher website, so if, with these miniatures painted, this gains this steampunk vibe, which I really adore. And you cannot skip the team and not talk about the minis. So let me focus on the minis for a little bit, because these minis are something else. It's like World War II or the 50s. You have kind of jet planes, but still you have these kings of the skies, which are zeppelins. And the miniatures are not only a good quality, I don't know if they will be better in the final version, I hope so, but they are very different from each other, so we can easily distinguish, for example, bomber from a fighter or fighter from a dogfighter. And of course, I told you already about adding bits of equipment to airships, and you know, when you are placing airship on the map and moving it on the map, it's all about pleasure and about sparking that inner child inside of you. And this is something that this game done to me through the minis. I was like, really enjoyed miniatures in this game, and probably it's one of the best elements of Dockfighters. And let me tell you folks a little bit about production quality, because this game is different. You can easily see it was not made somewhere in China, it was made in a mad scientist workshop, because starting off with this wooden box, acrylic clouds, these hexagonal units, buildings or objective markers, the miniatures, it's all so different from what you might already experienced, but I really like that, and I appreciate that author of this game decided to make this game at his own lab or workshop, because let me show you these crosses. As you can see, these are wooden and cut with laser. Something that you don't get to see in a board games. So in the beginning I was a little bit afraid that it would be not so professional, but when I got the game, assembled it and placed it on the table, I was like, Wookie, we are home, because baby, this is so cool. And now let me tell you a little bit about things or features of this game that maybe not that I didn't like them, but you need to consider if it's up your alley. So first of all, dice rolling. So this game relies on dice, and you will be searching for that 6s or 5s in order to successfully pass the test, either damaging your opponent or passing the pilot test, or some kind of danger test that are included in the game. And if you are not lucky, probably you might hate it, but it's more or less the same with every games that have dice in it. Good thing is that in the beginning you will have weak aircrafts, and usually you will be searching for those 6s. But as the game progresses and you will get better planes, better equipment, probably it will be a better experience, because the numbers that you will be searching for will be lower, but still it's a game that in the end runs on dice. So if you are out of luck, well, bad for you. Probably you will not be able to win the mission or the game. So the other things you should consider are the rules, because this game is not super easy to learn. If you are used to battle games, then yeah, probably it will be easy for you. But if you are not used to this kind of gaming, then well, you will need some time to adjust. So what I really liked was the rule book, because it's clear. I didn't have many questions about the rules itself, but there is plenty of tables, there is plenty of modifiers when you are rolling your dice that you need to remember about. You will be using tables or diagrams for moving, for weather conditions, for damaging, for checking wounds of the pilots, for checking what part of aircraft is damaged, and plenty more. So you will need to remember about that. But okay, it is manageable, but it's also kind of demanding. So you need to invest a little bit of time to get used to the rules of this game. Another cool idea is the pilot experience and pilot sheet. So you will have aircraft and pilots kept separately with different, you will use different sheets to track the informations about pilots and aircraft. But let me tell you a little bit about pilots, because you have name and rank, and once you put the name on this sheet, it's becoming so personal, and you can your pilot will get experience, and with experience, when you are winning 5 aerial battles, you will roll your d6 dice and check the new skill that your pilot will get, and as the game goes, you will get more and more skills, but you will also think on the field of battle how to use your pilot so he can win battles for you, but you don't risk losing him, and the other player will try to hunt him, because the better the pilot is, the more fame points your opponent will get for shooting him down. And there is one more special thing that I have never seen in a Kickstarter campaign. Probably it's only my own experience, but it's so cool. So if you send these guys your photo, they will add it over here and send you back the graphic file that you can print on your own and have your or your colleagues' photos on it. Such a small detail, but such a cool idea, and such a nice move from the publisher of Dockfighters. Okay, sun is getting low, so it's time for me to fly on a mission, but first let me tell you my final thoughts about Dockfighters. Dockfighters is a fruit of a passion and a pure love for board gaming and battle-based games in general. It blends sophisticated battle system, campaign mode, RPG, and craftsmanship, not found in the Chinese factory, but made by a mad scientist, but also so gifted scientist. Dockfighters is still available on Kickstarter. If you don't want to go all in, you can simply buy the core editions and get surprised by how much gameplay there is within not so many elements. It's an example of how to do games without overproducting it with components and other things that are not really so necessary. It's not something that I would say often about board games, but Dockfighters is a game that really took me by surprise. So when I was learning about it, reading the rules, I was like, oh, I need to play it. And after playing it, I was like, I want to play it more because there is so much to it, and I hope it will also happen to you. You can find it on Kickstarter or find your friend, get him to buy this game, whatever. If you like war games, battle games with RPG twist and other mechanics, then definitely give Dockfighters a try, and it's a thumb up from me. Thank you for watching. This was Dockfighters The Ale Wars preview. I'm Adam from Weekly Game Night, and I will see you in the clouds.